Oh, give me your little fuzz pot. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Welcome back to another video. Top Hat Plus, Loki. She will be cruising around as she sees fit. We are here today to talk about the scooter. Let's get right into the review of my scooter. This is the E22. There is no suspension on it. There is no air-filled tires. It's a pretty basic low-key model. It weighs, I want to say, about 40 pounds low-key. And low-key cruising around. Love it. It's about 40 pounds with the extra battery. It folds flat still. It does a great job. The hook here I've definitely used for groceries. The headlight works awesome at night. The brake lights are super feature. I trust nobody. Their security checks. Does it check out? Is it dangerous? Is it super dangy? It does 25 kilometers an hour on the flat. It does about 30 kilometers an hour downhill. And on a pretty decent grade, we've got some pretty half decent roads around here that are on a pretty steep pitch. It'll do 15 to 18 kilometers an hour depending on the pitch. The slowest I've gotten it down to, I think, was 11, but it was like, yeah, I'm hitting that in like second gear in my bicycle, my mountain bike, and it's like riding up a mountain. But it's been a great scooter overall. I've had no reliability issues, no performance issues. I had to tighten up the screws on the headset once. There is Loctite on them from the factory, but I guess they did come a little bit loose after a while of use. Not an issue. Little maintenance is not a bad thing. And going over it on a regular basis also is not a bad thing. The only cons I have about this is still having to buy it. But we will talk about the money here. This was about $1,000 Canadian, just like I think $300 US, maybe $400 US, give or take. You know what? Let's ask Siri. Hey Siri, how much is $1,000 Canadian in US? $729. I was off by a little bit, but our Canadian loonies don't really add up to much, so realistically, better pricing, it's probably like $400 or $500 US. So, I've made between 70 and 90 bucks from videos, from YouTube ad revenue and different things that I've done with the scooter. On here, it's done fairly well. The view counts aren't super high, but audience retention's been good and the funds have been coming in. Based on the mileage ridden on this, and I'm trying to compare this as apples to apples as I can, because my car is a gas guzzling V8 muscle car, so it will obviously use a lot more under some circumstances than others, which is when this really comes in. You all right? You get a nose full of wood powder over there? You literally have sawdust all over your nose. Behave. Oh, you're so good. She gets all the lovin's. So, trying to compare this apples to apples. My car will get 6, 7, 8 liters per 100 kilometers out on the highways, which is 30 plus miles per gallon. But that's not where I'm using the scooter. I'm not using the scooter to do an hour or 2 hours on a major highway. I'm bombing around town. I'm, 3/4 of a kilometer to the grocery store, which is, a mile. And then I'm 3/4 of a mile down to the gym. And then I'll go out and I'll do like a 6-mile tour. They just paved a whole bunch of trails. So I'll go check that out as well. And that's where the scooter really shines. And that's what I'm trying to compare it to for fuel economy. So my car averages in town here like 18 to 25 liters per 100 kilometers, which is probably like 14 miles per gallon. I usually have it in manual mode. I'm usually popping and crackling and holding the RPMs and engine braking down hills and just enjoying the car. It's a lot of car. It's really fun, so I do it all the time. So my fuel economy, based on how I actually drive, sucks. Could be better, obviously, but I don't really care about that. I would rather enjoy the car because, well, we will all die someday. So, comparing this to how I actually drive versus the 460 some odd kilometers I've put on it, bombing around in a similar circumstance, I've saved almost $200 in fuel. Our fuel up here is very expensive. It is like $1. It's been anywhere from $1.60 to $2.10 a liter. There's 3.8 liters per gallon, so you do the math. It's it's a lot. Like we're $8 a gallon at times, pretty easily, if not higher. So fuel's very expensive. So this has saved me quite a bit of money. And I know you have to spend money to save money, and that's kind of where I'm justifying it. If I own this for another 2 years and it performs as it did this year, or I use it more, I never did any leisure riding on it this year, so if I do more and it performs equivalently, the amount of money could be saved in 2 years pretty easily, which would mean the third year it's basically free, and I'm saving money on fuel. So the negatives of the money, you gotta buy it. The pros are everything else. It's very small, it's very light, it's easy to carry in the house, it's easy to put in my car, it's easy to leave in the garage, it's easy to clean because it's waterproof, it's easy to put on a grocery cart. I carry it in the gym, I leave it out inside the gym door because the gym is by key card only. Everything about this is an absolute plus. It's fun even for a guy that's done over 200 kilometers an hour in my car, a lot. Legally, of course, to bring life down a notch and just do 25 kilometers an hour and kind of zip around town. It's fun. It doesn't take me a lot different in time to get from point A to point B because I'm not getting in my car and leaving. My car can only leave the driveway one direction or it scrapes. I have to stop at stop signs and do all these other things as a well-respected motorist in my community. Whereas this, things are a little more forgiving. If I want to go left up the driveway, I can. If I want to roll through stop signs, I can, and maybe do, depending on where the traffic is. I live in a pretty small town. There's only like 4,000 people or so there's not a lot of traffic, and until I get to like the one main intersection, there's really no traffic, so I can avoid that and just scoot around. So I can get around town in almost the same time frame, but I don't park and then walk in or walk and get a grocery cart. I zip right to the front door, throw this in a cart, and I'm in the store. I don't leave, put my cart back, load all my groceries, everything's already in my bag, and I'm directly out and already headed home before I would even be in my car to start it, to then start the journey home. And then parking, I can only back in the direction I left, and I have to wheel it to get it up. It's a whole process. It's a lot of work. Whereas this, I don't. I just kind of come zipping in at Mach 7, doing wheelies and bombing around. It's a lot of fun. I've had a ton of fun with this scooter. So what's next? You can't really modify them. There's not really much to do. That you can't put bigger tires, you can't put suspension, you can't really modify these. It just is what it is. You buy the model that does what you want it to do, you use it for what you want to use it for, or you buy something else. And that's kind of where I'm at. I do not want to get rid of this one because I really like it. I do really like it. It's a really good unit. It's been great. I'm very pleased with the SEGWAY brand. I'm very pleased with how it works with the app. I have confidently charged it in my bedroom, and it did not burn the house down, which was very 2 thumbs up for me on that. So I would like to maybe get into their GT series, get something that does 40 kilometers an hour with a little more range. Kill for some suspension. I don't have good hips. Like you can see me standing here, I'm all like my hips aren't good, arthritis and all that nonsense. So this has been an absolute lifesaver for me getting out and bombing around and seeing town. But it's still pretty rough. When a small town, old town, horrible sidewalks, nothing is to code. I don't know if they know what code is. Nothing is really accessible. So this has been a great entry point. I would recommend this to a lot of people. But if you do live in these smaller towns, you're a bit more of an outgoing person and you want to be a bit more aggressive with your riding, or go more distance, or do some touring, or I would prefer a larger foot pad. The bigger ones are almost twice the size. I would even contemplate putting Loki on the front and zipping around. I'm sure she would sit just heavenly and let me cruise around. She's just giving me all the lovey-dovey eyes. She knows I'm going to be cooking dinner soon, so she's like, when we get there, I'm eating it too. Even though she started eating dinner, she's not, but that's here or there. So it's just been a great product. I've been very impressed overall. This is not a tech review. This is not a scooter operator's review, I guess. I'm a blue collar guy. I'm a bodybuilder. I drive muscle cars. I build stuff for a living. As you can tell, there's tools, and I did it on this side of the garage to show you some. I have batteries over here. Like, I'm just a normal dude that does stuff, and these are considered very not cool on the social standards of my lifestyle, my hobbies, and my way of life. So to get it and change everybody's opinion has been awesome. And to not only change their opinion, but change mine. I didn't think an electric powered vehicle could change my life or add as much value as it did. And value is everything. Everybody's got some money to spend. They want good value, and this to me is the good value. I never left it at home because it was raining and it can't get wet. It was a bit cool and I can't take it out. Like, I've taken it through everything. Pouring rain. Now, it's now been cold. I'm taking it out in the cold. I will ride it as much over the course of the winter as I can. It will be stored inside because lithium-ion batteries don't like the cold, so it will get stored inside. But beyond that, it's awesome. Couldn't recommend it enough. And I'm pretty excited to see what a higher trim version would get me. Who knows? Maybe I'll get in touch with SEGWAY and we'll see if we can do something. Till next time, drive safe, take care, and behave, as always.